Today we're headed to the other side of town, by way of John Prine. It first appeared on his Fair and Square album from 2001. The source for the solo we will be doing today comes from a 2005 live performance that you can find on YouTube. He plays through the whole solo and he makes a mistake, stops, tells a joke, and starts again. So it comes in at 1:28 of the video. We'll first break down each of the phrases for you, and then we'll play the entire solo up to speed. The song is in the key of D without using a capo, standard tuning. It begins with a pinch on strings 4 and 1, using a hammer-on on fret 2 on string 1. That note right there where you're adding your pinky is on the and of the beat, played by the index finger in the right hand. All those notes are what you call syncopated, where they fall on the and of the beat. They're all played with the index, as he only uses the thumb and the index finger. Right there at the end of the second measure, he moves his bass note over to string 5, and then the index finger picks up string 3, which up until then had been played by the thumb. All this is getting ready for the A7 chord that follows the D chord. The next phrase is the first two measures of the A7 chord. Very straight timing here. Pinch. At this point you stay on A7, but your pinch moves to string 1. In the following measure you have the same pinch, but you add an additional melody note by releasing your third finger and exposing the bar there to pick up the second fret melody note. And very light open strings just to keep the pattern going as you go back to D. These two measures of D are simply a pattern that just fills in the space. Basically the same thing with one extra note. You next play the opening two measures again, with the exception that the last note is an open string to get you onto your G chord. Notice you have that hammer going into the G. And be careful not to rush that, it's not. Once you're on a G chord, your bass notes become strings 6 and 4. So the second measure of G begins with a pinch. The end of the beat is an open string, allowing you to get to your next chord, the A7 chord. At this point you can see that he's holding this A7 chord. He never plays this third fret note on the first string at this point. Pause. So he has to move his third finger over to string 2. Bring in your first finger only on the second fret of the third string, and your thumb is now moved back to where it is playing the third string as an alternate bass note once again. You can hear how the A7 got you back to D, and at that point you're back to your original bass notes, strings 4 and 3. Pinch. And basically that leads into his singing. So woodshed on each of the phrases before you try to put the entire solo together. The entire solo now will be played at a speed pretty close to what John Prine plays it at. Should you need to slow it down, just use the settings on YouTube and choose a slower speed.